Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Joe, Bratton. Today we are the three of us, the three Musketeers. There's a thing like that, right? Really cool.
Hmm.
Rashad and Forrest will join us again next week. They couldn't make it this week, but it's so nice, and we just talked about it how people actually like that chat, and it gets to be my favorite hour of the week. I don't know if that sounds crazy to you guys, but this is actually one of my favorites. Might be one of my favorite hours of the week where I'm recording because it
Yep.
feels like I'm just hanging out with friends, but we're actually touching on a lot of important topics, and I feel like we are moving the needle a little bit and making some noise. And I'm not a told you guy. I told you guys like I told you so guy.
Hmm.
Um, but did you guys see SpaceX is dropping a lot? And like we were shitting on SpaceX a lot in the last chat, which, which kind of gave me some satisfaction. But I know it's short term. Like I don't want to be the guy that now like celebrates because it's just like 1 week going down. But yeah, how you guys feeling about Bitcoin the past couple of days and weeks?
Well, really quick before Jor goes, all I want to say is that I think the live stream stuff and what we're doing, the collaboration, like you said, like I enjoy this hour and a half that we do a ton. I enjoy. I do an hour and a half with Jor every Monday, and then the 3 Bitcast episodes that I do. So anytime I'm with like another Bitcoiner and we're kind of like doing like a debate, deep thought together collaboration, definitely the most fun I have. We've done, I mean, Robin, you've done what, 6, 7, 800 podcast episodes. And I love doing the podcast and it's fun, but it's just not as collaborative, right? It's just not quite as collaborative. And so I like doing them, but this is definitely the most fun I have, doing all these collaborations live with everyone else.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
same. I mean, I do a freaking live stream every morning. Today was my 548th live stream. So pretty good. Putting lots of blocks in the chain, but I love these too because it's just a chance. Because usually, even in the live chat, I get a little bit of feedback from the chat, but it's
Mhm.
nice to get some eyes that I can look at, some faces I can see, and it just makes for much better conversation. And I think that there's a lot of things we could talk about today. I think that there's never been a worse time for me in Bitcoin as right now, just sentiment wise, of just how mad everybody is at each other. It doesn't seem like we have anybody to blame this bear market. And I think that everybody's kind of taking it out on each other. I think Forrest alluded to that a couple weeks ago, and it's very true. And but I think it's important to keep showing up because we're here for something much bigger than the price movement. We're here for something much bigger than subscriber count and live chat numbers. We're trying to keep pushing things forward here. And I think that, one of my favorite quotes of all time is, it doesn't matter, something along the lines of, as long as you do not stop. So I think it was like, it doesn't matter how slowly you move, as long as you do not stop. And I think that that's what it is, whether it's a live stream or these shows, is just showing up because people have issues. Everybody's at a different spot in their own Bitcoin journey. And so when we say things and we talk about topics, it hits people differently at different times. And so we might have a topic today that we talk about, and then somebody might come back in 6 months and rewatch it, and they might hear a totally different perspective of it. So I think it's good to keep in mind that everybody's at a different spot in their Bitcoin journey. And I'm thinking it'll be a pretty good chat today with 3 of us because we have more, bouncing around to do instead of waiting for our 5th time to get some input into it. It can be more quick, and there's lots to talk about. So where are we headed today?
I think it's so fun. I just saw that comment. I will comment on that because Austria lost in the World Cup yesterday. It's very hard to watch because Messi is just way better than the whole team, and it was hard to watch. But yeah, like Austria is not a huge football or or soccer.
Yeah.
I don't know where you guys stand on football or soccer. I don't have really a hard stand on that. But yeah, it was hard to watch it because Austria is not a huge football nation. We have been to the World Cup not for 30 years, and now it's the first time we are back at the World Cup for 30 years.
Wow.
And then we are going against the number one, the champion from last time with Argentina, with arguably the best footballer alive with Lionel Messi, and yeah, we lost. So I'm not surprised.
Flash, we lost.
There's another good comment there from Comedy Mysterious World there. And it's actually something I said last week, something along the lines of just how much I appreciate everybody who's here now. Like, I know that there's still a lot of people who are fighting and arguing with each other, but you know, the people who show up here, I think that you might not know it today, you might not realize it yet, but the time and work that you're putting in at this stage is going to pay massive dividends in the future. And just because the world's not telling you that isn't worth that much yet, it is. It's just that everybody else hasn't figured that out yet. And so I think that the more conversations we can have like this, the more it spreads. And, you know, that's how anything changes in the world, is by speaking it into existence. And so big shout out to everybody who's still here in 2026 after a huge crash, after all this animosity, and you're still here in the live chat with us. So it was a shout out to us, but it's also a shout out to everybody who's tuning in today.
Yeah. I mean, like you said yesterday, Jordan, Bitcoin's 99% off, 50% from its all-time high, but it's 99% off from its true value. So, you know, get it while you can. And we're early. And like we've said many times before, it's kind of what you're alluding to. You got to love to battle. You got to love to fight. Most in a 4-year cycle, what are the numbers? I don't know if it's 10 days of the year, if it's 10 days in a cycle when you have like the most explosive gains. So no matter what that actual number is, majority of the time, 98% of the time, you are down or sideways, and you have to understand that. You have to be okay with that, and that goes, you know, flowchart back to you got to love to grind, you got to love to battle, you got to love showing up every day and just getting punched in the face, and that's just life. That's how things go. And if you're not okay with that, then yeah, I mean, maybe some sanitized investments might be your cup of tea, 401ks and RRSPs, and you know, whatever the government gives you. So it's not for the faint of heart. No revolution is just not. We're coming up on America's 250th anniversary, obviously, and you know, the British were coming to take the weapons cache, and a few people, not many, stood up and said, "Yeah, we're not doing this. You're not taking that stuff." And there was other guys doing other things, whether it was, you know, Washington, you know, finding out that the British were coming. It was Thomas Jefferson and some of those guys drafting the Declaration of Independence while all these things were happening in the weeks leading up to July 4th. But it's not for the faint of heart, you know, and there's a reason that in that declaration, it says, you know, we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, because it's true. It's not just like some words that were scrolled out there, just like, oh, just because, you know, we're going to hang separately, we're going to hang together. And whether we think this stuff is coming or not, it's coming. I mean, look at Christine Lagarde this past week or whatever, last few days, just saying, rolling out CBDCs even harder. It's like, is there one person, one in the world, right, left, up, down, black, white, is there anyone? I've never met anyone in my life saying, yes, I want a CBDC. Not one. I've never in my life seen it. Not one. So why are we pushing these things forward? And those are the questions you have to ask yourself as just a citizen of any country, wherever you are, and just be like, why are governments doing these things? Like, what is happening? Why are we, you know, oh, we got to protect kids. We got to do these things and censor them from the internet, or I can't figure that out myself. I can't do that myself. I can't parent my own kids. I mean, government just becoming daddy and just daddying you harder in every walk of life. And, you know, we're at a time that try men's souls. So it's time to wake up and smell the coffee.
It's so interesting because if you really think about it, they push digital money, and a lot of people hear that and say, "Oh yeah, that's great. That's like Apple Pay. I don't wanna carry my notes. I don't want to carry my coins, and I just want to pay, like tap and all of those things." And they don't think, first of all, about the second order consequences. They just want to have the convenience, and so I think we already have that convenience. We already have digital payments. We already have all that infrastructure since like a very long time. I mean, Apple Pay is popular and dominant since a very long time now. I mean, not decades, but like years dominant. And so you now have the central banks pushing for a different kind of digital currency. And if you really think about it, everything is a central bank digital currency. Like literally, like if we think about the euro that goes over Apple Pay, like for me, that's already a currency that is centrally controlled, that is digital, and has a bank in there. And so like it already has the things. So why are they pushing this new thing? What is different with them? They have even more control. That's the only that's literally the only part of like having even more control over that. So it's like, do you really want to like support that? If people would have thought about that question hard and deep and like from first principles, they wouldn't, but they don't. They just wanna they compare the CBDC and digital euro and digital whatever with, oh, it's like Apple Pay. It's more convenient to pay things and it's easier. That's not the point.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to say is like, what's the difference between a CBDC and what we already have? Like, is that just another way of saying we're taking away physical cash?
I think so.
Because I don't really see any difference. Even if Canada came out and said, "Hey, we're issuing this CBDC," literally, what's different than the Canadian dollar right now?
Right.
And I mean, one of the things that I talk about a lot is like trading units of illusion for units of reality in terms of dollars to sats, and units of the worst money in human history for units of best money in human history. And the reason I say is because like, even if you think about these dollars here, like, yeah, Federal Reserve note, horrible, but at least it took some freaking energy to make this paper and energy to create it through the printing press. Digital dollars literally take zero energy to create. So even if this was like a fraction of a penny to create, and the difference between a $1 and $100 bill was just the number on it, there was still some sort of energy there. And yeah, it is convenient to be able to pay people directly and pay people without carrying around all your coins and cash and stuff. But I think that the real thing about CBDCs is a lot of people tie Bitcoin to it. I think that'll be the most damage that we see from it. Because in my life, I probably won't even notice anything. CBDC, Canadian dollar, who cares? It's all digital anyways. But there's a lot of people out there who do not trust the government, do not trust the banking system, refuse to get into Bitcoin because they think it's a CBDC equivalent or a version of that. And it's simply because they haven't put in the work, but it's still a big hang up for Bitcoiners and for the Bitcoin network. So that's my biggest fear about it, is that people tie it with Bitcoin.
And it's so frustrating because I literally got that comment yesterday and I read it and I was kind of frustrated because this is a guy that should be on the Bitcoin mission. He wrote screw everything digital. And I know if I meet this guy, he's 100% diehard Bitcoiner who has no clue about Bitcoin.
That's what I mean.
Which is exactly this frustrating thing of like, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't trust digital, but you don't have to trust it. You can actually verify it. You can look it up yourself. You can do all the verification yourself. You can run your own node. You can verify the source code. You can go line by line through it. What is it doing? Do I like this, what it does? Do I like this, what it does? Why does it do that? Why doesn't it do that? And so if you go through it, you recognize that. But all those like digital euros and digital yen and digital dollars talk kind of sucks Bitcoin into that conversation of being digital money and being the same as the digital euro, which couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah.
And I was saying this yesterday at one point that it's just more bad things have to happen, unfortunately. And as much as, and it's funny because it's the only thing that really drives me to do this and to be outspoken about stuff and actually not just go, sit at the farm all day and do nothing else and just be around my family all day. You're trying to stave off the bad things from happening. But the more you do this and the more you talk to people, you realize, oh no, we just need more bad things to happen. People need to touch a stove. There's no converting people. I'm blessed in the sense I probably orange pilled, 5, 10, maybe a dozen, 10 to 15 people, I don't know, in my life, a fair amount of people. But it takes time. I mean, a lot of no one's ever like, oh yeah, hey, the very first thing, it's taken 10 years, maybe one person a year, and they eventually come back to you or something happens, they get orange pilled through something else. So I don't know if it's me necessarily orange pilling them. It's just like I'm floating the idea out there, right? And then something else happens to them. It's Canadian trucker protest, the Dutch farmers, getting welded into your home during COVID, and people waking up, seeing, crazy events going on their Twitter feed or on the news. That's what orange pills people, red pills people, and or orange pills people. And then they say, oh, this guy talked about this, and then the connections are made in their head, because it's really the vibes, the power, the energy that's going to convert people moving forward, the winning. That's why, like, at the end of the day, we do need Bitcoin's price to go up. It has to go up, and it will. We have to protect it, make sure it's decentralized and secure. We know governments are going to print money ad infinitum forever, because that's the playbook. Financial repression is the game. So it's just being patient, like you guys kind of alluded to in the beginning. It's just showing up, being here every day. Don't, get over your skis and do, play funny games and get really fancy. Be in the game. You can't win the Bitcoin lottery if you're not in the game, if you don't have any Bitcoin. Get in the game, stay in the game, custody your Bitcoin, and be here long term. Be smart and provide more value to society than you take, because this is going to play out long term. It absolutely will, but patience is the key. And because it's not going to happen on the timeline we think it should, because again, most people, the diminishing returns are here in the sense of people who just are looking for something different, are wanting something different. We've hit that like early adopter diminishing returns phase, and now we're like struggling. You're like shifting gears, right, in a car or whatever it is, where it's like you kind of hear like the boom boom, and you're like, that's what happens, and that's where we're going to this next phase of the world, where you're going to have a lot of people get orange pilled through bad events or whatever is happening. And so that, in a way, kind of leads us even to some of these other things, which I said yesterday at one point, which was the BIP 110 stuff, or the core crowd, or treasury companies, or the quantum, FUD people, or whatever it is. You have to be careful in a lot of these senses, because a lot of people, we get over our skis too fast, too soon, and we're doing things that aren't even here yet. So you have to be careful. Patience is the name of the game, and just being even more patient than you think is even what it should be, I guess. You have to be so patient, and being here long term is really the plan. It's not trying to get fancy and activity bias and do all the fun and games now. It's let governments print the currency, do what they're going to do. Bad things will end up happening. The system will freeze over, and you'll be there to pick up the winnings at the end of the day. So that, to me, is the big thing. And the only way we get in trouble is we psyop ourselves, we destroy ourselves, the human part of it, and we wreck what we have right in front of us. That, to me, is the biggest threat that they're facing.
I see. I'm streaming this on Rumble, and there's a couple of people over there. I don't know why the comments aren't pulling through to the channel here, but I see Jerry Loves Freedom over in the Rumble chat over there. And it made me think of a couple different things here. So, Jerry actually posted a really good video the other day talking about how nobody cares that the supply is 21 million Bitcoin. And that's just one example. And I think that as we think about like the adoption and things, Brandon mentioned it, like even us who spend all our time in Bitcoin, it's still very difficult to get somebody to cross the threshold and be interested in Bitcoin. And so that's what Jerry was talking about. He used the 21 million as an example, but I think it's a lot of the things that we talk about. I agree with Jerry in the sense, like, people don't care. People don't give a shit that there's 21 million, because there could be 21 million of anything. But if they don't know what those things are and what they can do and how powerful they are, it means nothing to them. So I started thinking about, like, so how do you, I guess the main focus for me, and I think for all Bitcoiners here, are how do we increase adoption? How do we get those people? And I agree with Brandon. It is definitely touching the stove. It's, doing something stupid or getting your bank account frozen or whatever. But the average person, it's pretty rare, I think, especially here in like Canada, UK, the US. So it's like, what is it? And then I started thinking also along the lines of Jerry is he watches this guy. I don't know his name. I forget his name now. LV or something. He's a political guy.
Yeah, LV Nations. I recently actually had him on the podcast. Super base guy, huge following in the political space, and an extreme Bitcoiner. And he has this political show with like hundreds of thousands of views. Like as a YouTuber, like hundreds of thousands of views per video, and he pushes them out like once a day. And he wears the Bitcoin hat when he talks about politics and all of those things. Sorry, a great guy like Lou. I think Lou. I don't know his name. Lou Valentino, exactly. Great guy. I met him. We did like a 2-hour podcast.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the point that I was trying to make there is like, I've always thought that if we could find guys like that who are talking to the non-Bitcoin crowd already and get them to talk about Bitcoin and wear a Bitcoin hat, that actually might trickle over into Bitcoin. But he sent a lot of his audience over to Jerry because Jerry talks about Bitcoin all the time. But like the majority of those people, even though this guy, they like worship him as like a political guy, he talks about Bitcoin, he has the Bitcoin hat, they still have zero interest in learning about Bitcoin. So
Yep.
I don't know that that's the play either, is like trying to get outside influence to talk about Bitcoin. So it's like, I guess my point here is that it's a freaking puzzle to solve what this is. And Brandon mentioned the price. And I really think that that's the only thing that people care about. Like the average person is the price.
I literally tried to, this is literally the talk of my my Prague presentation, because I was trying to figure out how is an innovation happening in the long run? Why are people adopting stuff that is superior to other stuff? And I picked a very fun topic. I picked car versus horse because just like, it's such a nice picture, and everyone saw a horse in their life and everyone see a car. Like you can picture it very nicely. And I don't want to give the whole talk now because I can talk about that like for 2 hours, but the very short version is there are 3 fundamental forces that will make a product and will make innovation really mainstream. The first one is incentives. The second one is an infrastructure. And the third one is the social layer. I call it consensus. And so just really quickly, incentives is like, why is it better? Like the sheep is, like not the sheep, the horse is like, has to sleep. It has less stamina. It is unhygienic, all of those things. Like the car is clearly better, it's faster, and all of those things, which it wasn't in the beginning. The car was a lot slower in the beginning than a horse, and a lot shittier because the roads were not paved and all of those things. The third layer is kind of the, how should I say it? The third layer is the consensus, the social layer of like, if all of my neighborhood has a car and I'm the only guy with a horse, this is kind of like screwing me up. And like, I also want to have a car. That's kind of the consensus, the social layer around it. If everyone in your family has Bitcoin, you also like, oh, maybe I want to get also Bitcoin because I don't want to miss out. That's literally the reason my sister bought it. My sister is like, I have no clue what you're doing with the Bitcoin, but I want to get some in case you get extremely rich and I don't. Like that's what literally, like we are social creatures. And the middle one, the infrastructure, for me is the most important one. And people overlook that. It's the infrastructure. Why did like you guys know the picture where there's like a bunch of horses in one car, and then there's another side, a bunch of cars and one horse, and it was 13 years in between. It was super quick that those pictures happened, but the car was already around 13 years. It was like very fast, but the car was already around for 15 years before that. And if we count steam engine cars, they were around for decades before that already. And so why did it take for the car so long? Because we didn't have gas stations. We didn't have paved roads. The roads were made for horses, not for cars. They were muddy. They were not good to drive on. We didn't have the supply chains, the mechanics, and all of the infrastructure around Bitcoin. So long story short, I think we not only need to build on the education and the social layer and all of those things, but we really need to tackle infrastructure. Bitcoin has to just be so much better to use and so much easier to use and so much like it has to be just like an amazing experience. It has to be 10 times better than Apple Pay to pay something in Bitcoin. Then people are using it. And so what my core message is like, we have to pave the roads, we have to hire the mechanics, and we have to do all that shit to really get people to the masses, because they're lazy bastards.
Yeah, someone said it in the chat. It really is like I don't know if it's a pendulum or like a seesaw almost at the balancing act, because there's 2 options, and you laid it out. Like I laid out the extreme example of touching the stove, and then Robin just laid out the other example. So it's either you make things so much better, it's a completely different opportunity. It's not just a better mousetrap. It's so much better, car to horse, or it's extreme Mad Max. Those are the 2 options. So, and that's this delicate balancing act. Unfortunately, Bitcoin can, and I think will do a little bit of both of those, right? It'll capture markets from, both of those sides, but that's really what it is, right? And that's, we see it with AI, like you said, electricity. The electricity is much better than the candle, much more efficient, but it takes a while to do all those things. And I think that's where this patience game comes in. And we all have to be much more patient. Like that's what we were saying, like when the treasury companies, all these people are wrong, because it's not like treasury companies themselves, that's not going to get Bitcoin past the finish line. Like none of these little things are going to it increased a bunch of adoption because of that. That's not what it is. And the thing that confuses me is why there's not more Jack Dorseys out there. There's a fair amount of whales, and it's surprising to me that there's not more Jack Dorseys building things and doing stuff. It surprises me that, Elon Musk is a little bit sidetracked, I guess, with, going to Mars, and he got the space thing and all kinds of other stuff going on. But that's why I'm very hopeful for the next 5-10 years, because I think that as Bitcoin price rises, you're going to have enough Bitcoiners with enough amount of wealth that they have to start businesses. Like you can't just retire on your Bitcoin. You're going to have a lot of purchasing power, and you could theoretically retire on your Bitcoin, but you're not going to want to. You're going to want to go back in and start businesses, produce goods and services in the Bitcoin world, and make the piping, lay the roads, and do all this, because there's just not enough right now. And I don't know why that is. I don't have an answer for it. I don't know if anyone does. It's just, for whatever reason, there's just not a ton of people innovating, or not enough and fast enough to innovate and make the experience that much better. And but you have to also balance that with patience at the same time. And so, we all have to be patient, but you don't just build things just to build them. And we don't want to round peg square hole things. It has to be, decentralized and secure still. Make sure we're not effing with the, the consensus of Bitcoin, stuff like that. But that to me is where the rubber meets the road, to your point, Robin. And it has to just be that much different. And I made this argument yesterday too. This goes back to, it just oscillates between how much better is it and then max pain, because in the Western world, again, here in America, most people, they forgot about COVID already, right? They forgot about the Canadian truckers protest. They were like, well, I'm not getting censored. I mean, how many people have told this to you? I know many people have told this to me over the years. Like, well, I'm not a bad actor, Brandon's like, I don't really care. Like legit, like, I don't care what you're saying. Like, I'm not a bad person. Like, I'm not gonna do bad things. So like, I don't care what you're saying. And that's most people, unfortunately. So a lot of us, Bitcoiners, we just kind of are talking into a brick wall all the time. 21 million, like you said earlier, decentralized, secure, like that means nothing to the average person. Zero. And so it's, how do we mean this into the world? How do we make, fun things, make things more fun, better products and services, make it easier? Like these are the things that are going to have to happen going forward in order for Bitcoin to really steal the spotlight again at the end of the day. And you mix that with the fun, the part of it, the vibes, keep the vibes high. And then Mad Max and people touching the stove, dumb shit's going to happen. Can absolutely guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that will bring people to Bitcoin as well. So that's the road we have in front of us.
I mean, speaking of roads, like I really like thinking through that analogy that you use, Robin, because when you think about the horse and buggy and the vehicle and how the roads had to be built, if you consider what the roads are right now, and if you would have went back in time and looked at that same scenario and imagine that all the roads were owned by horse owners, and so that you couldn't drive a car on it, they just wouldn't let you do it because it wasn't in line with their incentives as road owners, right? And so if you think about how it is now, like tomorrow, if you think about like what gives Bitcoin some of its main value points, like I would argue that one of the main value points is it could actually prevent spam, because it's the only thing that you can use that's actually backed by energy, for one, but also has the ability to use micropayments. And so YouTube could tomorrow, like 100x adoption if they wanted to. And they could say, if you want to leave a comment on this video, you have to put 2 sats or 5 sats or something like that. And people would figure it out, because people love sharing their opinion so much on YouTube that they would figure out how to get some Satoshis and how to leave a comment and fund a lightning wall. They would figure it out because it's part of their life. But YouTube has no incentive to do that, because YouTube makes a shitload of money every time somebody sends a payment over the fiat rails. They can take 50% of it right off the hop. That disappears for YouTube if they implement Bitcoin and people start using Bitcoin on YouTube. So it's like the roads are built, but the roads are owned by the people who don't want Bitcoin to succeed. And that's the problem. It's not like just the roads are wide open. It's like nobody wants this to happen. The banking system, Square's doing a great job. And I'm glad you mentioned Jack Dorsey, because that's something where there's a terminal there now but it's like you can still pay in US dollars. So there's still like no reason for people to use Bitcoin in that situation. Right. And it's like all the road owners of today, they're incentivized to keep the fiat system going. So that's why patience is the key here, because it's going to play out. A lot has to do with price. As price goes up, as Brennan said, there's going to be more investment, more people building in Bitcoin, but we're just not there yet.
It's so interesting because if you think about it, the infrastructure is so deep, the incentives are so deep, and there's so many layers to it, because there's the incentives of the end user, there's the incentive of the infrastructure that wants to adopt it, like Google or like payment providers. Apple would be huge. Like, think about Apple discovering Bitcoin, and they can do like 2 out of 3 multisig with all their devices and store
No doubt,
Bitcoin
no doubt.
easily and just like do all that shit. But just to, we talked before about Jerry, and I was like, let's text him if he's up and he can join us. So I was like, let's bring him on the stage. It's the first time we brought a special guest on our small mastermind. Hi, Jerry. How are you doing?
I'm good, Robin. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
What's good?
Jerry Legendary. There he is right there. Good to see you, buddy.
No.
Well,
Brandon, nice
good.
to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Jerry. Really good. I don't think we've never had a chance to be on together.
Nope, not
Really
yet.
good to see you.
Thanks. Same here.
Love
man.
it. Love it.
Well, that's a nice surprise. So, Jerry, I don't know if you heard it or not, but I was talking about your video that you made about the nobody gives a shit about 21 million. And I figured it was a good kind of tie into the adoption there. So what's your what's your spin on that? Maybe just give people a quick summary of the video that you posted, because I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, man. It's tough because we get caught up in our echo chambers a lot, and we live kind of like in our own little world. So I try my best not to live in that world, even though I'm just a crazy hardcore Bitcoiner. But when I look at other people and I talk to them, you know, like I used the example when I was walking around, you saw the rocks on the ground, and I said, hey, what if I told somebody, hey, these rocks are great out here, there's only 21 million? They're like, well, who gives a shit? Who cares? Right? And because we have put in so many hundreds and thousands of hours, we understand how important it is to have that scarcity, that finality of supply. But these people are not anywhere near where we're at in studying. They don't know the system is broken. They just don't. So if they don't know the system is broken, then what does 21 million mean? If you ask somebody, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million right now, they'd be happy. Yeah, that's great. But that's why I always tell people, and I'm working on this for my Satoshi Saturday video, that 1 million Satoshis is more rare than $1 million US. And I'm going to break that math down. But you just have to ask, you know, what percentage of the money supply do you own? And no one knows. They just say, oh, it's $1 million. Well, $1 million didn't get you what it did 20, 30 years ago. And they don't understand why. So when you ask them what inflation is, they have no idea what it is. They don't know what a money printer is. They don't know what debasement is. They don't know anything. So if they don't know those things and they don't know the problem, then what the hell's 21 million mean? It doesn't mean anything. So we have to get them all the way down to the basics. And when I tell people to study Bitcoin, that's the number one thing you have to do is study Bitcoin. It doesn't mean study Bitcoin. It means you have to study the system that we're in already. And then once you figure out, wow, that's a problem. I've been lied to. I've been hoodwinked. I've been bamboozled. Then you say, okay, well, now that you know that, now let's say, well, wow, it's almost like some new disease. You just found out, wow, this is a disease? Well, shit, what's the cure? I need to know the cure now. And that's the cure, is Bitcoin. And we have to look at it from a lens of, you're not inside that system anymore. You literally have to, and this is the hard part, man. You have to get out of that system. You have to literally step out. I don't give a shit, me personally, how much Bitcoin costs. I don't care how many dollars it is, you know, all this other stuff. All I care about is how many Satoshis I can get, because I'm living in a different system. Although I am in the system where I got to get paid in dollars and stuff like that, my net worth is how many Satoshis I can get. If I can get more Satoshis today than I had yesterday, then my net worth is increasing. I don't care about the price. And so we have to meet people where they're at. And that's the hard part, because, again, we're so far ahead of everybody else. And in order to get this and make this thing work, we have to work for it. We just have to. And if we're not working for it, because a lot of us, including myself, we tend to think Bitcoin is automatic. Like, it's just going to work. Don't worry about it. Just sit back, put your sats and cold storage, and it's going to work. I'm not in that camp anymore because I see so many attack vectors, what's going on. So I'm just like, there's a lot of things that's going to get in our way of getting the adoption that we want. Again, I look at the price today, and we don't care about the price, but it's like, it's $60-something thousand in 2026. How would Michael Saylor and all these people buying all this Bitcoin? How? Obviously, we know there's some games being played. So for me personally, 21 million is important, but the main thing is you have to understand, and they have to understand that the system is broken and what the real utility of Bitcoin is. Because again, like I said in the video, it doesn't matter if you can zap it to someone. No one cares because they're already doing that with Zelle and Cash App and Venmo. They're like, I already do that already. They don't understand the peer-to-peer, especially people in Western nations. They don't need to say, well, I don't need a middleman. They don't care about that. They're like, well, I can send it to him and him. No, this is different. I can send you money permissionless, and it's inflation proof. Now, unless they understand what inflation is, they're not going to understand it. So we just got to get down to the basics and make sure we fight for our network.
I love the point that you made there with the $1 million and what was it? I know I saw that on the comment. There was this guy writing, "Do you want 1,000 Bitcoin or $1 million?" Do you guys know about that video that went viral that made the question, "Do you want a Bitcoin, one Bitcoin, or $100?" And almost all of them like chose $100, and like there was this like thing of like, oh, one Bitcoin is just one bit of a coin. This meme that went around, and it shows you that people have no clue, not even about the most fundamental thing about Bitcoin, that it has a price that is a lot more than $10. And so if it's a lot more than $10, you should choose the Bitcoin and not the $100, because if you get one Bitcoin and it's like $100, you already are in the profit versus the $100. And so it's hard because the foundation is already lagging. It's like we're talking about difficulty adjustment. People in the chat are talking about BIP 110, and we try to get people to understand that there is a Bitcoin price and there's like only 21 million, like the most foundational layer. And then we talk about, oh, BIP 110, is it this, is it money, like all of those like very like deep topics. That's not, I asked my community recently, like, hey, what node are you running? Are you not? Are you core? Like, do you like that stuff with BIP 110? Most answers were like, what the heck is a Bitcoin node? like, what are you talking about? And so we have to kind of like make that balance act between not alienating new people with, I think someone mentioned it, of like this infighting that we have. I mean, infighting itself already is a meme. Like if you say that, you already get attacked just for using that word. But you do a lot of infighting, but we always done that. It's actually a very good part of Bitcoin. I think the toxicity and like fighting and the tension between different Bitcoin is actually very good for Bitcoin, but it's a whole nother thing. I just personally think that we have got to get back to basics, as Jerry says. Like, what does it mean to get 1 million Satoshis? That's huge, but people don't get that. So you have to make it like that people can grab it and like understand it.
Yeah, we're past the the moral high ground part of the world. I think that was maybe decades ago there was those arguments, but that's where like the memes cut both ways, and it's very difficult in Bitcoin. Like even the Lambo stuff. I mean, the more you think about it, it's like you probably should embrace that even more as a Bitcoiner. I know we've kind of like just skirted that off to like the crypto crowd, like that's the moon boys over there, like that's not Bitcoin. But that's what the average person wants. That's what they're looking for. They live in financial hell and they want a way out. That's why there's DraftKings and casinos and the lottery. I just passed, in Michigan here, it's like 450 million in the lottery. It's like, how many people are playing the lottery right now? They're looking for a ticket out. They think AI is their ticket out now, right? Like that's the world we live in. You know, going back to what Jerry said and what we were talking about earlier, it's vibes, it's winning, it's energy, it's vibes. What converts more people? People coming over to, hearing 10 years of propaganda against America, and then 1 minute of coming over here and seeing a reel or experiencing America yourself and realizing, oh, this is nothing like what I've been told. That rewrites your brain automatically. Done. Like, there's no amount of propaganda that can rewire that person's brain back to thinking America is shitty, or, the middle of Alabama is awful, or something like that. Like that energy and power and contrast is what's going to win going forward. And again, none of us have the exact answer for it. And that's why the patience is so key, and letting life play out. And the things are happening the way they're supposed to happen. And I think that's, again, what trips us up at times as well, trying to get too fancy with things. I was making that, I think, Jor, yesterday we were saying in hockey, right? Like, you cutting across the blue line, trying to get fancy and toe dragging, you get your head taken off. And that happens in life. And you start getting fancy and you start getting out over your skis, and you're using too much leverage, you're doing this and that, fancy shenanigans, and you get taken out. And we just have to be careful of that. We have to create products and services, those that can, or those that are willing, or those that are able, but do it in a patient way, a long-term, low time preference way. And that's the only way moving forward that this is going to continually grow, mixed with the vibes, the energy, keeping the energy high, keeping the good energy up, and the contrast of this old life. And that's where building the citadels, your privacy stack, showing people. I think one of the big things, again, we see the AI mining data center, stuff like that coming in with the Bitcoin mining. That's going to be a huge thing going forward. But just building your own privacy stack. I mean, I think it'll be really cool what Bitcoiners will build in the coming years. I know some already have, but whether it's Bitcoin mining in your house, you've got your privacy stack, your local LLMs, your 3D printing, and you're doing a lot of these things. Well, guess what? That's really cool to a lot of men out there. So guess what? Like, building your own stack instead of focusing on what Sailor's doing 24/7 or what's going on in the Iran war or the World Cup. Maybe we should spend some more time building our own stack and building our own digital citadel in our house, building our physical citadel, and then showing that off, and then showing people, having people over, have them check it out. That'll turn a lot of heads, right? Just doing things like that. And that's where we get more adoption, instead of just, sitting back and waiting on our hands and wait. Hey, when's the next ETF going to pop? That ship's already sailed. We talked about that 10 years ago. Then it happened. And now everyone's just kind of sitting around waiting, like, okay, how come the price isn't doing anything? It's like just the meme of like knocking on the green candle, then it blows your head off. And that's just kind of where we're at. It's a very weird time. That's why we opened up with the weird sentiment and the worst sentiment, a lot of weird things going on. And rightfully so, to a degree, in the sense of, Jerry kind of alluded to it. There's shenanigans going on, I'm sure. I cheated the game of Monopoly when I was 7 years old. So you can't tell me there's no shenanigans going on anywhere in the market. Of course there are. Of course there is. And I think I feel bad for the people that have got in 2020, 2021, 2022, or whatever, and they've experienced very muted rallies, and the lower highs, the lower percentage highs have really taken a toll on a lot of people. And I think that's where a lot of the pain and anguish and stress comes from. But it's going to change. It will change. It absolutely will. So that's where, again, going back to the patience, flow charting back to that, and just being diligent about what we're doing. And you're going to be rewarded in the long run if you can hold out and not get too fancy when you're cutting across the blue line.
Brandon's got the best rants, man. I swear to God.
I love it. There's so many nice one-liners in there. I'm like, how did you build that one in there? It's like that's
blackout awesome. Like Will Ferrell. And
he goes off, man, and I appreciate that.
Thanks, Jared.
I think
you guys all do too.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
My thoughts on this. Like, there's so many great things said. There's so many great ideas and thoughts. And, I was kind of thinking through it myself, and we started the show here talking about how what's that?
Lou is in the chat.
Oh, nice. We were just talking about Lou. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to LV Nation. That's where we started the conversation today. But, I was kind of talking about how Bitcoiners are everybody's at a different part of their journey. And I think that as we sit up here and, and chat with each other and share ideas and thoughts, it's important to keep that in mind, that everybody's at a different spot in their journey. But we also have to think about how people who aren't in Bitcoin yet, they're also at different stages here, right? And I think that how you can talk to people, like, why would somebody be interested in Bitcoin? And I think it's different for everybody, of course. But if you consider somebody who's like already lost faith in the system, somebody who doesn't trust the government anymore, somebody who watches LV Nation, like, those people are much closer to Bitcoin than everybody else. And I think that when you're figuring out what to talk about to who, like a perfect example, if you were talking to a political discussion like that, well, they've lost trust in their government. So what's important to them? Being able to move if they have to, right? And so what does Bitcoin do? It allows you to keep 12 words inside your head that you can travel to anywhere on the planet, and nobody knows that you have that wealth inside of your head. So to like somebody in that audience, that point would hit much harder than somebody who's just like still completely trusts their government. So I think you need to figure out, where people are in terms of the Bitcoin world, but also where people are outside of the Bitcoin world, and then try to figure out what conversation to have to them. And it's different. And it takes a lot of like, on the spot kind of creativity, off the cuff kind of stuff. But I think that a mixture of patience, knowing the audience, knowing what their pain points are, I think that's one way that we can slowly increase the adoption and get more of those people who are so close. Like that whole audience there are Bitcoiners. They just don't know what Bitcoin is. And that's really what we have to get them across the bridge to. And so it's points like that. It's like the fact that you can take your wealth inside of your head and travel anywhere on the planet is amazing. And like everybody in that community would appreciate that. It's just that we don't talk about it enough, and we don't really know the pain points. It's difficult, but I think it's relevant, very relevant.
Yeah, it's tough too. And in saying that, Jor, because again, like I know I've railed a lot on government-run schooling for a while here, but it's tough. I mean, you think of how many people like they don't even trust themselves, right? We just conform, comply, obey for so long, and getting daddied by your government for so long. You don't know anything different. And that's the problem. Like that's what Jerry's saying. That's what you're saying, Jor and Robin. It's just very tough because all these logical things that we come at someone with, humans are emotional. So like we come at them with like the wrong angle, and they don't even believe in themselves. They don't trust themselves to hold 12 words in their head or figure out how to use self-custody when it's exactly the same as using your smartphone. Like just that's the simplicity of it at the end of the day. And they can't even trust themselves because they need some backstop. They need Jimmy Dimon, Epstein's banker, to help bail them out if they type in the wrong password or something like that. Like it's just, and it goes back to the incentives of the system, like we said earlier, and the roads not being paved all the way on our side, or et cetera. So it's interesting, like how do we get, and that's where it goes back to the patience. So how do you get around a generation or two of people, a couple generations, really every generation alive right now that doesn't even trust themselves? They have no confidence. I mean, it just comes back to that. The vibes are low. A lot of people's low vibes, low T, low energy, right? That's not good. And there's no answer for that other than time. There's just not, like it's bad times create, hard men, good, like that's it. Like that's how you get to this next level. And it's not a sexy answer. It's not a fun answer. It's nothing you can like get into like, hey, let's go create some product or service to help that. It just is. And I said this, I think yesterday too, and I've been saying for a while, but like my dad was a few years ago, was like, yeah, you read about these times in history books, but it sucks to have to live through them. And it's just like the most innocuous generalized statement, but it's so true. Like you just look around and you're like, gosh, damn, like we really are going to live through this, aren't we? Like we're just going to live through us just, defeating ourselves and just shooting ourselves in the foot, over and over again. And that to me is, there's no answer. There's no answer other than that. And it's okay. I think that's okay. This is not a doomer thing or a black pill thing. It's just, you have to know that in the timeline you're on in humanity to understand where the puck's headed, to where we're going, and to be okay with it, be at peace with it. Be okay. Go touch more grass. Like you don't have to sit here and watch what Sailor's doing every second. Just get your sovereignty stack, get your privacy stack set up, get everything set up, and do what you can, and be okay with that, and know that the backside of it's going to be amazing. But I think that there's often this contrast or this misconception of like things are just going to be great tomorrow. They're going to be infinitely amazing and abundant, and Bitcoin's going to 1 million tomorrow. And there's that thought of that, and then it doesn't happen. So it creates this anger and this frustration, and then it makes us do dumb things. And then when emotions go up, intelligence goes down. And that's where I think we just have a lot of personal development to do. We have a lot of just bettering ourselves to do in order to get what we want at the end of the day.
Yes, I already saw a couple of replies on Sailor and strategy. It's so interesting because I see most of the strategy talk from people that don't own strategy. I feel like the people that own no strategy are more concerned about strategy than the people that own it. I don't know how you guys look at it, but like I'm so fascinated by how many people are concerned for Bitcoin, for like what Bitcoin shakes out just because what Saylor is doing. I'm like, if Saylor could kill Bitcoin, Bitcoin was never supposed to win in the first place. If one guy can just come up in 2020 with a bunch of money and just buy a bunch of Bitcoin and just kill it, or like sell Bitcoin, or like whatever, like he's doing, I think then Bitcoin was never the thing that we initially loved it for. And so, but I do think it is like that. And so if you just hold Bitcoin, you don't have to care at all what Saylor is doing. Like, he's just a player, and he might just pump your bags to 1 million Bitcoin, and maybe he gives you an opportunity to stack cheaper sats. Whatever it is, you don't have to care what Saylor is doing whatsoever, because it doesn't touch Bitcoin. Just because he has a bunch of Bitcoin doesn't give him any more foundational rights to Bitcoin or any more say in Bitcoin. That you could make the argument a lot of us have more say in Bitcoin than him, because we run nodes and we do all of those things. I'm not so sure he does. And so if you are a participant in a network, you run your own node, you maybe have a miner connected, whatever your setup is, you have a big say in the network, and that decentralized say is actually the power of Bitcoin, not a guy holding a bunch of Bitcoin. Just holding coins doesn't give you any right to vote for Bitcoin. It's not proof of stake. It's a very different system. But people don't get that, because everything else is a proof of stake. Strategy is a proof of stake. If you own a lot of shares, you have a lot more to say than if you only own a little bit of shares. The same with everything else. And so I think people give him, and that comes from a strategy shareholder, by the way, people give him more power than he has. People think he's kind of the president of Bitcoin, and because he's now doing shit, Bitcoin is screwed. I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with each other. Bitcoin is its own thing, and whatever Saylor is doing, Bitcoin will be fine. You might be screwed as a strategy shareholder. You might be screwed as a stretch shareholder. I don't think so, but that's why I'm holding it. But you might be. So, but you as a Bitcoin shareholder, or like Bitcoin shareholder, as a Bitcoiner, someone that holds Bitcoin in self-custody, you don't have to worry about that at all. It doesn't even touch you.
Agreed.
Real quick. I don't mean to interrupt the show, but Lou asked to come on, Robin. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Oh yeah, let's have him on. Let's have today's a special guest day. Jerry, do you have his DM? You can send him the link, or like I'm sending him somehow.
Lou, I'll send it to you, brother.
Yeah, send it over Twitter or something. That would work.
Is it the same link you sent me?
Yeah, it's the same link.
Should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could also just put the link in the live chat. So Lou might pop in, but Josh might, Vic might, BTC Backpacker might. But also on that note, there's one heck of a live chat going on here. Again, I know we mention this every show, but for some reason people don't do it. But let's get everybody over to the mastermind chat. Robin, do you have that link, or could you share it in the chat?
Oh yeah, I'll share it.
While Robin is getting that, we might have to, who knows, maybe the next week or two, we just go live in the BTC Mastermind channel. We might just have to pull the plug and just do it. I was thinking about that this week.
Because it seems like we got the same people here every week. It's just everybody's in different streams.
Yeah.
So if they remember Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time to find us, they can. Or just hop over there now, join the live chat, and let's keep the live chat together. And maybe we'll even get Lou on the show from LV Nation, who we kind of kicked off the conversation talking about today. I just want to mention one thing on that too, because when we think about, like, we've been talking about adoption, what gets people into Bitcoin, I would argue that price is probably the biggest factor of that, right? And I would agree with Jerry. I think we all kind of agree that there's probably some funny business going on. Brandon mentioned cheating in Monopoly. And if these guys can figure out a way to make more Bitcoin without having to hold sats in self-custody, they will. And they'll manipulate the price for their benefit. That's what they do for everything. So why wouldn't they do that with Bitcoin? But as people here, as individuals, we don't have any ability to control that. But the one thing that we do have the ability to control is taking our sats off the exchange and putting it into self-custody. because the more sats that we can get into self-custody, the less funny business, the less bullshit that they can play around with, the less money they have to play around with, right? If there's 2 million sats on an exchange, or 2 million Bitcoin on an exchange versus 1 million Bitcoin on an exchange, they have a lot more flexibility in terms of how much they can manipulate with the 2 million. So like what we can do is actually just get our sats into self-custody. But I'm going to shut up because we got a VIP guest here. Lou.
Another VIP.
Yeah, what's going on, man? What's going on, guys?
What's up, Lou?
You guys can hear me good, right?
Yeah.
For 4 months, I think we had 0 guests, and today we're starting with 2, which is super fun. And we didn't plan, like, for just so you know, you guys, I didn't plan for Cherry.
True.
I didn't plan for Lou. And just like, hey, Cherry, I saw him in the chat. Like, let's invite Cherry. And like, hey, Lou is in the chat. Let's invite Lou. So thank you so much, guys, for being
shows.
spontaneous and coming on as guests. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, this is the best conversation on planet Earth, bro. Bitcoin. It's the best conversation to have. Shout out Jerry. That's my guy right there. And Brandon, it's my first time seeing you. I like the ocean hat. That's the ocean hat, right? I got one of those.
Yeah. Black on black ocean hat. They have a bunch of different colors, but
yeah, I got the orange one.
you got the orange one? Yeah. They have a bunch of colors. Really cool.
I want to make sure I say your name right. Jor.
That's right. Bingo.
I was gonna say whore, but that's gonna go the other. That's gonna go somewhere else.
That's cultural appropriation right there. That's cultural appropriation.
And
Lou,
Robin.
Lou, what are you thinking about all the topics we talked about, like the bear market, the sale thing? I don't know if you follow BIP 110, like all the things that we kind of like talked about also with digital currencies. You're more in the political realm also.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I click usually like when I put my because this is my main channel, so I click the YouTube sign, it gives me a new page. And then I see you guys are on, and then I see Jerry is on, and I'm like, okay, that's dope. And then I said something about you guys, and then I think it was Brandon that said we were talking about Lou earlier, and I said, wait, what? I'm like, this law of attraction stuff is always hilarious to me, because I'm like, bro, I haven't seen, sometimes like your lives come up, but sometimes like they don't. So today it happens to come up.
That's wild.
But yeah, I don't know, you know, sometimes it's like a magnet, bro. But you like, it's just like Bitcoin magnet. That's what I call it. It's just like you go into these spaces, you meet these people, and you know, you have these things in common. But as far as your convo, I was interested in speaking about Sailor. I think that was like the last 3-minute conversation you guys had. I do have a question for all of y'all. Maybe you guys can educate me on Sailor stuff, but I do see that stretch has been depegged. It's been depegged now for I don't know how many days, or I know it's supposed to be pegged to $100. Preferred stock. I know during I don't know if you guys were at the Bitcoin conference, but that was the biggest conversation that I said that was the silent killer in the room was, you know, the hijacking of Bitcoin's narrative. And I think a lot of people were having that conversation up on different stages. Obviously, Jeff Booth has, you know, his, you know, YouTube, I mean, his Bitcoin philosophy, which is more like, yo, if it's not money, then it's not going to work. And of course, you had, I think it was a girl from Africa talking about Bitcoin being used as a currency. And then you come into the United States of America, you see this guy hoarding Bitcoin, and it could be good, it could be great. So I always thought that conversation was going to be the convo that I think a lot of people would have. I've seen other YouTube channels have the same conversation, which is, hey, you got this guy kind of dragging us down with his BS, you know, and then you have the Adam Livingstons of the world, who I respect a lot. You have the, you know, the other people who, you know, digital credit people who say that Bitcoin isn't money, that Bitcoin is just a tool or whatever. And I think Robin said it best. He said, nobody really gets to say, like, Bitcoin is going to Bitcoin without all of us. Like, it's just going to be, Bitcoin's going to exist no matter what. So what do you guys think about, and what is the Bitcoin narrative to you guys today? Like, do you think it's money? Do you think that, you know, do you think this digital credit stuff has been good, or what do you guys think? I know I said a lot, but I'm sorry. I had a lot to out of my mind.
I will I'll get the ball rolling. So there's a lot of interesting questions in there. First of all, like just the question, like, is Bitcoin money? I think that's its own like 10-hour podcast in itself. But So I don't want to reiterate what I said before with Sailor because I think it's different. But just because I think I'm quite deep. I'm not fully in there yet, but I'm quite deep on the grasp of what Sailor is doing with strategy and with stretch. I'm still trying to figure out how to frame the video and do all those things because I'm researching that topic now since about 7 months, and I want to bring like a 1-2 hour video around that, just explaining all of my thoughts. As I see it, everything that is happening for Bitcoin is good for Bitcoin, and stretch is debacked, and there was never really a peg, so that there's no guarantee that it stays at 100. And this is exactly the point that I think we made in this live stream so many times. Yes, it's great if it stays at 100 and pays you the 11.5% what it is right now. Even if it pays you that 11.5%, by the way, Bitcoin will outperform it over a long time. It's just like you just benefit from it being more stable and less volatile. But as we can see, stretch gets stress tested, and it's not that it failed now. So for me, in my opinion, it didn't fail because it raised, I think, about 100,000 Bitcoin for strategy this year. I wouldn't call capital structure that raised for strategy 100,000 Bitcoin failed just because it didn't fully deliver on the promise of being like exactly around $100. But it will be interesting to see if it has long-term value, and if it stays quite stable in the long run. And if it is being stable in the long run and pays the dividend, then the question for me becomes, will people adopt it? And I think yes, unfortunately, but 100%. If it stays with within 3% volatility and keeps on paying between 9 and 11% or maybe even higher, people will flock into that thing. A little bit like we said before, people are lazy and they're like, Bitcoin, what is it? Oh, a bank account that pays me 10%? Yeah, of course, because that I'll do, because my bank account right now pays me 0.3%. And so the question is, will it be successful or not? I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't buy stretch because I'll rather have Bitcoin or at least some strategy shares if you really want to go into that realm. But yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. And I think Bitcoin is money, even though there's a lot of nuanced conversations around that. And just what my last point is around that topic, if Bitcoin wouldn't be a medium of exchange, it would not have any value, because the first thing you have to do is exchange it. If you cannot exchange it, it does not have any value whatsoever. And I'm not fully there where Jeff Booth is, where if it doesn't succeed fully as a store of, as a medium of exchange, it does not succeed as a store of value. I'm not fully there yet. I'm not fully understanding it, but I can see it having a huge impact. So I don't know, Joe, Brandon, you guys have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean,
Jerry also.
Bitcoin is definitely money. Bitcoin's pristine collateral, I think it's going to be a big part of the future. A lot of people kind of ask, where would Bitcoin's price be today if Saylor wasn't buying so much with Stretch and through his products? And I really think that all that's done is just prevented more people from taking self-custody of their Bitcoin, because you're not buying Stretch unless you believe in Bitcoin, right? Like, nobody's doing that. And so I think that the people who are already there at the gates, those people should have that Bitcoin in self-custody instead of letting Saylor hold it. And I've always questioned the fact of what Saylor's trying to do, I support. He's trying to take out the fiat system. He's shorting the fiat system, but then he's offering a product that pays you in fiat. So he's basically saying, hey, I'm taking out this system, but I'm going to pay you in these units. Like, it just doesn't make any sense from my perspective that anybody would hold Stretch. I don't care what they're paying. If I want something that's more stable and less volatile, I'm just going to hold cash. So that's kind of where I sit. And I think that Bitcoin's a million different things, and that's why it's maybe so hard to explain to people. But Lou, what I was talking about before is like your audience, they're already at the point of distrust in government. And so to them, the pain point would be, hey, you can store all this wealth without anybody knowing you have it, and you can travel anywhere you want to with it. So that's a huge selling point that most people have no idea exists. And I think that we need to do a better job of explaining that to the right audience at the right time.
Oh man, I think that's the best point. I think there's a lot of people that don't even know that your money could just live in your head. Like I said that before. I think I said that to one of my friends. He was like, "Man, he called me the R word." He was like, "That sounds retarded."
Regarded, highly.
Yeah, he was
regarded.
like that. What are you talking about right now? I was like, man, that it's just like, and then you realize how much work you have to do with this person. It's just like, man, you just get tired. So I get the fatigue would be, especially from Sailor. You know, he's trying to convince old money. He's trying to convince that because there is I think me and Robin spoke about this. The entire market that we are trying to, I think Bitcoin is going to capture it. I guess Sailor would be trying to fast track it. Would be that 900 trillion to a quadrillion dollars, which is all in real estate and all in index funds or whatever. Like he's trying to capture that, and he's trying to offer yield for it. Like, hey, you know what? Give me that money. We're just gonna figure out a way to get these people in here, because trying to explain it to them is just not gonna work. But I don't know. I think you're right though. I think that self-custody is the best way to go. I think that's really one of the best points of it. So I don't know. I just Sailor is good. I watch all his interviews. But I don't know, man. It just rubs me the wrong way sometimes. It's like, I don't think this is the point. Like, what are we doing? Are we just hoarding Bitcoin? Like, well, what's the point? Like, so I don't know. I think a lot of people have a lot of great questions about it. But I'm with Jeff Booth, man. I'm team Jeff Booth. I think the natural state of the free market is deflation. And I think that we need to use Bitcoin as money. I think I just don't see Bitcoin working in the next 40, 50 years if it's not money. That's just my opinion. Right now, yeah, sure. Like we're all using it as a digital gold, because I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin right now. I think that would be kind of stupid. Like if I was to, use 2 Bitcoin to buy something, and then freaking 10, 20 years, those 2 Bitcoins are worth like $1 million each. I'm probably going to look back like, damn, like, well, why would I do that, bro? I literally spent, 62,000, 65,000 times 2 on this, but now that 65,000 times 2 could have been 2 million. So I guess we think about it in that sense, but I don't know, man. It's a great conversation. We're always going to have it. But Brandon, what do you think?
No, I think you said it earlier, actually, Lou. I mean, the narrative is more of the thing that concerns me the most. Like, I think, I'll put good intentions on Sailor. None of us are in his head, obviously. We don't know. It looks like so far for 5-6 years, whatever it's been, he's had good intentions and been educating a lot of people. So it's all we can really go with. The only thing that concerns me is that some of the language that's crept in, and this is the narrative, right? And we talked about this at the beginning of the show. The psychological operation is the only way to beat Bitcoin. You can't beat it technically or, with computer hardware or something like that. It's just the narrative change slowly over time is what's concerning to me. Not to say that, whatever it is, but this is the fiat world. And I made the point with a couple weeks ago, I think, on the show with Dylan LeClaire, and I actually mentioned it yesterday on one of the shows. Dylan LeClaire used to be out there just memeing and trashing people online and just making people look like fools. And now you don't see that anymore. And I use poor Dylan as a placeholder. There's a lot of people like that, and that their narrative has changed. Why? Because they're in Bitcoin treasury companies, and they are now beholden to rules. They're beholden to Wall Street. They're beholden to this legacy system that we're trying to get away from. That is the biggest concern to me, because it's the natural state of Wall Street right now. It's the natural state of fiat that you have to then conform back into the system. So we're kind of like looping back around from where we started. That's the concern to me. It's that narrative, like you brought up, Lou. So not to say that, Sailor, like Robin said, like if you hold Bitcoin in self-custody, like you're going to win either way. Like either Sailor does amazing and this thing works out and it goes to millions and tens of millions and Bitcoiners in self-custody win, or Sailor blows himself up and it goes to 10,000, 5,000. And guess what? We get cheap Bitcoin and grandma gets to buy more Bitcoin. Like we win. Bitcoiners in self-custody win either way. And that goes back to the patience thing. A lot of people don't want that. They're not okay with it going back to 10,000. And as a Bitcoiner, you have to be okay with it going back to 10,000 or 5,000 and sucking up, taking the licks and saying, okay, dust myself off. I'm breathing still. Let's get back at it. Let's get back on the horse. That's the scenario that no one wants to really talk about. No one wants to admit to. No one thinks it's even possible. But you have to be okay with it. And so that's kind of that's where we look at when we say, hey, what is Saylor going to be good? Is it going to be bad? What's going to happen? Okay, well, yeah, again, worst case scenario, what happens? He blows himself up. Okay, those coins go back into the market or whatever happens. It's like, okay, yeah, that'd be terrible for USD price, but that's it. Your life still goes on. Sun gets up the next day, and we get cheap sats, and you start going, like that's the worst that can happen. So to me, it's just a narrative. It's not to say that anything is wrong at this moment. It's just when people are saying stretch is going to turn itself into money, or that's how you turn Bitcoin into money. Well, like, no, okay, what are we doing here? But it's just it's the beginning of the narrative where the narrative creep, like the mission scope, mission creep is going the wrong direction now. That's the only thing that's concerning to me right now. So it's just something to keep an eye on more than anything. Like, again, the older generation, they want stretch or this and that. I'm fine with all that. Like Robin said too, like Bitcoin, everything is good for Bitcoin right now. People in the lexicon learning about Bitcoin, I'm down for that for sure. And it's just mission creep, making sure we keep the ethos strong. Because at the end of the day, if the ethos isn't strong, it's not decentralized and secure, back to your point, Lou, with Jeff Booth, then none of it matters. What Saylor's doing is moot, right? Anyone doing anything on top of Bitcoin, if the purity of Bitcoin is gone, the ethos, the freedom, the permissionless, the trustlessness, all that decentralization security is gone, then none of this matters. I mean, what we're doing on YouTube doesn't matter. What Saylor's doing doesn't matter. So that to me is just the biggest thing, making sure the narrative is there. We're always going to have psychopaths, I think, in Bitcoin. So I believe we're good for the long term, but that's just something to keep an eye on. That's all.
So
Gary, let me or anybody, let me actually bring this up real quick. So, because I know you guys been on way before. I think we're at 1 hour and 10. I don't know how long you guys keep it going. So let me just sneak this in here. When Bitcoin dipped to like 88, I was one of those people. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start buying. I don't know if this is just a dip or if the 4-year cycle stuff is still alive. I'm a huge Ben Cowan guy. I'm not a TA guy, but I like Ben Cowan and his approach. Some people hate him, whatever. He gets a lot of hate, but I think he's been right about the 4-year cycle kind of still being alive or whatever. But people believe it, people don't. But even Ivan and all these people that I watch, I'm a huge fan of Bitcoin YouTube and tech analysis. So I feel like there's analysis about Bitcoin daily price, and then there's analysis about the long term perma bull, which is I believe all of us that we believe in it long term. I don't trade it, so I don't care. But sometimes I like to watch the short term trading because I think it's just hilarious. Like, bro, we don't know where it's going. So I was going to say, something always breaks. And just so happens that in 2020, I think it was 2022, which is the last bear market, things were breaking left and right. I'm not sure if that's going to happen this time. Now it could, things could break. And I think that the main catalyst would be Saylor. And I hate to say that, but things, the bear markets usually like bottom out, prices bottom out usually when something really breaks and people really like when the last bull is slayed, they say. And I'm not sure. I think that Bitcoiners have been through enough bear markets to understand that, like, it's okay, bro. Like, I don't know if there's going to be the last bull slayed this time because I think people are just going to remain bullish. Brandon just told me that price could go down to 10K, big collapse. God forbid that something happens. Bro, I'm still going to be bullish, bro. 10K, like I work all the time. Like I'm still making, fiat. Like I'm providing value, and my value, I'm storing it in Bitcoin. That's my energy. That's everything that I worked for that cannot be printed more of. And if I could get it for cheaper, cool. But like, no matter what happens, I think that this time is a lot different because, this time is different. You can't say that. Not in price, but not in price. It's more like more in the context of like people remaining bulls in the long term versus, of course, the tourists. Like, because there were a lot of tourists last time. Like there were a lot of people. Like I remember watching the price go to 69K and then all the way down to 15K. And I think a lot of bulls that were just there that bought at 50, that bought at 40, bro, they got cooked, bro. They got slayed. Like imagine buying at those prices and then freaking Celsius collapses and freaking the guy who was everywhere with the Democrats, Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX. I mean, you're seeing Steph Curry, Tom Brady, and then boom, like it's just a huge collapse. This guy was a fraud the whole time. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen this time. I don't think it's going to happen. This is why I just continue to buy and just be humble. but I do think it's just so interesting to me. It's so interesting to me. The 4-year cycle theory, I think it's a real thing. Like I think people are in the sidelines waiting for October, waiting for the 4-year cycle stuff. Like, what do you guys think about
perception's reality?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry, what are your thoughts? I mean, yeah, perception's reality. That's humans, right?
Yes, absolutely. And first of all, I want to say hello, Lou. How are you? Nice to meet you, man. And
yeah, this is the first time we do talk, right?
Exactly. So for the 4-year cycle, a lot of people saying it's broken and stuff like that. It's 210,000 blocks for me. And every time a epoch is cut in half or the subsidy is cut in half, that's what I worry about, right? So in around April of 2028, when we have the Bitcoin halving about, we're going to get 225 Bitcoin per day and about 1.56 per every 10 minutes. That's all I care about. So I'm trying to get as many as I can. And I tell people all the time, try to get as many Satoshis as you can, or maybe get a block subsidy as quickly as you can. Again, block subsidy is going to be getting cut in half. So I don't really focus on the short term. Me personally, I buy a lot. I buy a high DCA. I won't say how much, you guys know, so I don't want to promote that here. But Bitcoin, to me, the thing that I worry about the most right now, short term, is keeping the network safe and adoption and showing people what's going on today, right? So again, as human beings, we tend to get lackadaisical a little bit with our investments and stuff like that. I think Bitcoin is a little bit different because all systems need to be ran by human beings. Bitcoin is not just an automatic thing, right? We need miners, human beings, to mine the Bitcoin. We need human beings to run the Bitcoin nodes. We need human beings to buy the Bitcoin. We need human beings to take it off the exchange. So I think the most important thing, and I'm so glad that Lou is on here today, my thing is to keep the network safe and to educate people on the broken system, right? Because me and Lou, we come from kind of the same angle. I saw Lou, and one of my goals is I want to do some stuff with Lou, Greg Foreman, Black Conservative Perspective, and our boy George. What's his G-A or something?
George AA, yeah.
George AA, yeah. So because those guys understand Bitcoin, Lou on a higher level, because he's really talking about Bitcoin. But again, these people are already sick and tired of the system. They just need to know and understand what the debt clock is, the inflation, where it comes from, and the national debt. The national debt, again, who do we owe it to? Why are we paying it? What's the spending deficit? What is the Federal Reserve? People need to understand those things, because if they don't understand those things, they're not going to get into Bitcoin. So me personally, I am just totally focused on getting as many Satoshis as I can, keeping the network strong, and trying to get as many people to understand the system and understand that it's a problem. That way we give them the solution, and that's Bitcoin.
Yeah, I love it. And I love what you said too, Jerry, that it's a human system, because that's what it is. I mean, Bitcoin itself, the hardware, software could theoretically run for 1,000 years on its own. But if the humans aren't there and using it, and Saylor has talked about this, and we've talked about this a while back. Saylor himself years ago in one of his speeches said, hey, the real threat to Bitcoin is if people don't care about sound money. If humans do not care about sound money, then Bitcoin has no value, because people will not use the network, and the network is the value, the growth of the network. So it's a huge thing you bring up, because it's paramount, and it's and we see it right now, right? With price languishing, people are sucked over to AI. They're over here doing other things. They're focusing on other stuff. The DraftKings, Polymarket, AI, so the attention goes away, and guess what? The well dries up, and people are like, yeah, what's going on here? So and that goes back to, I think right before you guys jumped on, we were talking about pain, right? Pain, dumb things happening in life, more, like you said, debt clock, more printing of currency, which is absolutely coming. I think we could see massive price jumps even later this year, potentially, with Warsh kind of just, faking like, oh yeah, I'm not going to hike rates, and then just to kind of give the illusion. But they're definitely subordinating the Fed. Scott Bessent, who, is the guy's pretty wild if you know, I mean, if you know his history, obviously, and him subordinating things, breaking the British pound back, you know, with George Soros, and, you know, which, you know, we know George is not a wonderful guy, but which they're going after Soros. I think the FBI just raided his place, did they not? You two, Lou and Jerry might know, but anyway, it's just, I think we're in for some really big things, really big fireworks, and this is just kind of like the you know, the day is darkest before the dawn, and I think we're probably in that place right now.
Hey, Lou, what's your community like? Like, what's your audience think about Bitcoin? Because we started the show talking about Christine Lagarde with the CBDCs and how it's not really that different than the money we already have in terms of like the US dollar, the Canadian dollar. It's like all digital anyways. But the issue that I have with it is that people associate Bitcoin with it. And so, like, does your audience who haven't taken the time and put in the work, do they kind of associate Bitcoin with the CBDC and like a controllable thing versus what it actually is?
Yeah, so I deal with that a lot. I mean, I'm pretty forward with my crowd. I mean, you know, there's a lot of views, right? Like there's 100,000, 300,000, 400,000. And there's always people, I always say you make videos for new subscribers, not old ones. Because usually people get lost in the algo and you're always making videos for new people. Like I swear, mostly all my videos that I make, bro, they just reach a whole different audience. I didn't even know. Like they just kind of pop up. But what I will say is like, I wear my Bitcoin gear. I got a Bitcoin blanket. I got a Bitcoin in the back. I got Bitcoin everywhere. I try to really, you know, there have been videos that have gone viral. Like I spoke about freaking, I was talking about Greenland one time, and I was like, hey, look, like Trump is just he's just trying to imperialize the West. Like this is the Monroe Doctrine all over again. This is literally only happening because of the dollar and because of the military industrial complex. And, you know, we're just a debt-based society and we kind of need war. We kind of need these things. And Trump realizes that without imperializing the West, I think that the solution to this is really why I invest in Bitcoin. Like I threw that in there one time, man, and I got like 1,000 comments like, what is Bitcoin? Why would you invest in that? It's a scam. And I knew at that moment, I was like, okay, this is it. This is how bad it gets. All right, cool. Now I'm just gonna keep talking about this shit, man. That's it. I thought it was gonna be worse. Like just because the perception, to answer your question, the perception is more like Bitcoin is in that realm in their minds. It's a central digital bank currency. Like it's a controlled op. Basically, some people, but not all of them, because there are a lot of people I believe that I've given that light to, because a lot of people now on the channel, when I talk about Bitcoin, is like they're stacking sats. So somebody commented the other day, and I could see them commenting that they're stacking sats, that they love my hat and that they love the shirt that I'm wearing, and there's like Bitcoin. So the audience they are lost in the sauce, right? Because I do talk about all these issues like Democrat, Republican. I'm always chasing virality. What's the next big video? Trump is literally, for the left and the right, he's given so much content. No matter what you think about him, he is the content. That guy is the content. But I do think that I try to always bring in like, okay, there's a solution to a lot of these problems. And you know what? There's a solution to all these problems. And it's money. It's literally just money. It's the way that we like. I speak about the Bretton Woods Agreement on the channel. I speak about gold, silver. I speak about all these things. Like, hey, like, you know, once we went off the dollar, I speak about the Nixon shock. I speak about, you know, all the problems that printing so much money has created for us. The things that we can't afford no more with the same amount of money that we had probably 10 years ago. So I do speak about these things. People are awake. I can see there's a change, but for majority of the new audience that constantly comes in for these viral videos, when I do mention it, there is this mixy feeling of like, yeah, like Bitcoin is a scam type of thing. And I think that, unfortunately, in closing, so I don't want to talk for too much, but I do think that all this stuff kind of rounds itself out to the scams. Like, got all these different coins. You got XRP. Like one of my boys, literally, one of my boys asked me about XRP yesterday, and I was like, "Bro, why are you asking me about this? Focus on Bitcoin only, bro. It's a scam. Like, just look. I was like, look, just look at the last 5 years. Is it going up? No, like it's going down. Like this thing, everything bleeds to Bitcoin at the end of the day. So it's like, just buy Bitcoin. But I just, again, going back to the point I made earlier, it's like you realize how much more work you have to do because the normal eye is getting more retarded. And I hate to say this word on here, but
Yeah.
I mean, I say the word on my channel. I'm still monetized, so I think we're pretty good. We're kind of back. But yeah, like people just have become more retarded, bro. We just kind of got
regarded. It's regarded, Lou. It's regarded. Do you think that do you like just from like the data in essence, just the comments and the amount of people that come through, do you get a sense that it's more people that just don't know? Maybe they're kind of psyoped in the sense like Bitcoin is a 4-letter word to many people, really on both sides at this point, to be honest. They don't trust anything. Or do you think there's more of like a subconscious, like where people don't want to fix the problems? Like the money is the problem, but there's a lot of people that it's, at least in my opinion, it seems like there's a lot of people subconsciously, there's a mental block where like misery loves company. And I want to be able to bitch about something in my life. And I don't actually want to fix the problem. Do you get any sense of that at all? Just with the amount of people? Yeah.
I think that's it. I think you said it. I think misery loves company. And I think a lot of people, they think they want to fix the problems, but not really. You know, like, I mean, you could talk about Trump, you could talk about the presidency, right? Like, people are really stagnant. Like, there's a lot of things that I've criticized him about, but then people get offended when you criticize him. But I'm like, bro, like, we chose him to fix a lot of these problems that we thought, like in schools, gender problems or whatever it was. Yeah, he fixed some of those things, but he's lacking here. Oh, you can't say that. So it's like, I don't think you guys really want to fix the problem. I think you guys love that there's a bad guy. You guys love the villain in the story. It's Democrats, right? Like, but there was a Democrat that I really like, and they're like, well, why are you liking Democrats? And I'm like, bro, what the fuck do you think? What do you think this is all about? Like, I'm rooting for a great. Unfortunately, we have a 2-party system in the United States of America. That's a very unfortunate thing. But if we are gonna stick with this 2-party system and the third party, which is like the Green Party, if these parties are not gonna grow, then I'm rooting for the Democrats to get better so we can have 2 options that are okay. But right now, the Democrats are really bad. But if there's a Democrat that I'm like, okay, I kind of like this guy, and you get mad because I said I kind of like this guy, then you're not really trying to find a solution to this. You hope that it's like people are hoping that things get worse. And so I think that there's a lot of that for sure. But I blank out and I just stick to the program, which is I told everybody, I told my audience, my whole entire net worth is in Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does go to 10K, just know my entire net worth is 10K. But I tell people all the time, like, I'm not scared to say it. You know, this is the way I live. I'm all in Bitcoin. This is all I buy. All my YouTube checks, if you donate me money, is going to Bitcoin. So I suggest don't donate. Just you go buy the Bitcoin. You do that yourself. Don't send me nothing. I already make enough money. I'll be okay. But yeah, I think that's the best thing I could do. Instead of trying to constantly explain why Bitcoin is not a scam, I just tell everybody, hey, I'm all in Bitcoin. My whole entire net worth. This is all I buy, especially during this bear market. That's all I've been buying. If you want to find out more, you know, you can comment down below. I'll explain it to you. And that's literally been my mantra, bro. Like, I had a Discord. I'm going to create I'm going to do like Discord programs and stuff like that. But I mean, it's big, bro. It's a big audience. Like, when I look at the views and I look at the viral videos, that's a lot of people, man. So if we can convert like 1% of those people, like every 5 months or whatever, then I think we're headed in the right direction. So I chase virality, but through virality, I feel like there's substance in my content because of who I am and what I do. And I think that
converting that virality to Bitcoin. Some might say you're a financial engineer, Lou. Who knows? I mean,
I'm trying, bro. Listen, bro. Man. Politics and cultural issues and all these things, they're really they get people going.
Yeah, they do.
Like, okay, Carmelo Anthony case, right? I don't mean to go through specifics, but like Carmelo Anthony case, that's a real big topic, right? Like that kid, he unalived another kid, and that's people care about that. Unfortunately, that's getting millions of views on some channels.
Look at Charlie Kirk. We have people still doing crime scene analysis eight months later. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of views per video.
The Nancy Guthrie woman, Savannah Guthrie. Like, that's a big. These are things that people care about. Unfortunately, they care about this more than the system being broken.
Yes.
They care about this more than the Epstein files. Like, they just care about these types of issues more than a lot of other things. So you have to figure out a way to play that game, and you got to just throw it in there. And that's what I do, bro. I bot out, but as I'm botting out, and I got a Bitcoin shirt on, and I'm hoping that, that the botting is working,
It's so true. And you know what's really interesting, and again, you guys might have all witnessed this maybe too, but it seems like to me, again, going back to the people don't want to fix problems, the people that, and I have a lot of respect for some of these people, but whether it's even the Tucker Carlsons of the world, or, I talk about the Charlie Kirk stuff, this Barron guy got really huge talking about Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, you go down the list of, like you said, the Carmelo Anthony stuff. Like, there's so many things where when like Charlie Kirk stuff, for instance, like Candace Owens, there's a lot of good that Candace has been doing over time, but there's a sinister aspect to this where when you're not directly over the target, the higher ups, the spiritual warfare, the people that aren't on our side, let's just say that from a spiritual level, we're saying, they love it because the shrapnel does not affect them. You're the town over. Like, most of society is like in another country. But when you have really intellectual people or smart people and they're not over the target, like what you just said, Lou, they don't understand the money, like follow the money analysis, their shrapnel doesn't reach. They might be a town over. They're very close. Like, they're so close. Like the Charlie Kirk stuff, probably set up. Like, who knows? It looks like it was probably set up. But when you're focusing so much time and attention and energy on one little thing that, like, in the grand scheme, unfortunately, really doesn't matter that much, instead of like being, like, it's the Coliseum, right? The bread and circus. So all the people the treasury is literally right behind them, but they're all in the Coliseum focusing on something. And the treasury is where the game's really being played, but they're so close. They're like, the buildings are touching, but they don't care. Right?
I just participated in that. Yeah, I was at the Knicks finals game, right, in San Antonio. Drove 2 hours to go. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I got to see the Knicks win, but after they won, I'm not seeing the celebration. I'm looking at the videos from New York, and I'm like, seeing all these people crash out. Right, I'm seeing the burning buses. They're all going, and they go to the parade. And I'm like, bro, this is pretty crazy. Like, this is bots in action. Like, this is NPC level shit. Like, I'm an NPC right now, bro. Man. I've joined these people, and because when you really
lose disgusted with himself.
No, but you have to participate. The way I look at it, you have to participate in these things in order to understand the people and their mindsets to it. What gravitates people to these storylines and these things, and who benefits the most from it? And all these people, for sure, and the way that people go out to vote, I'm sure these people don't care about voting as much as that. I'm sure they don't care about policy as much as that. I'm sure they don't care about gold, money, or Bitcoin as much as the Knicks. And I think that that's crazy. And that's why you see basketball players reflect that in how they get paid. $135 million for 2 years. What?
And people bitch about ticket prices.
Right? Like, this is
playing to ban, you morons. Yeah. Oh.
So it's the domino effect thing. It's just what it is. Like, if those people care that much about finance, politics, or whatever, I think that the world will be much different. But there is a system created, which is why they're there, celebrating and doing all these things for the Knicks, is because, my bad, somebody's knocking on the door. You guys,
he's in on it too.
Someone is
amazing.
Someone is rock pulling Lou. Man, I love it so much. There's we are getting to the 2 hours. Like, I should have gone since like 20 minutes, but it's been really cool talking with you guys. Maybe let's make a last round, and then we have one last take from Lou when he might come back. What do you guys think?
That was the CIA, bro.
You just get swatted?
Yeah, he's barking at you.
I got my dogs. My dogs are out, so when anybody gets close to the door, they're ready to go.
That's awesome.
Let's do the last round because I gotta go. I'm good.
I've talked enough too.
I haven't been here for as long as you guys, and I'm already tired.
We appreciate you being on, Lou. It was And Jerry too. Jerry was the one who brought Lou on, and so it was awesome having both the boys on here. We thought it was going to be a three banger today, but it turned out to be a whole lot more. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and I'd love to come on more often, man. I'd love to, Robin. You guys follow if maybe We can follow each other on X and stuff.
Yeah. Robin or whoever or Jerry will have to get us all together and we can get a little back chat or whatever. So, or throw them in the private chat or something.
Yeah, I think
you guys have that other guy though, right? He's usually here. The bald dude.
Rajat.
Man, I love that guy, bro. That guy's the best.
A lot of Rajat love. A lot of Forrest and Rajat love in the chat already today. So
I want to say something. I want to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
I know we got to go, but I had Robin at my house about, what was it, a month and a half ago, something like that. And we were eating dinner, and I asked Robin, because nobody has interviewed more people than Robin in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of had you in mind too when I was talking about this, Lou. I say, hey man, we need to start interviewing people that are into Bitcoin but are like mainstream people, right?
Yeah.
And Lou is the epitome of that. And me and Lou talk about the same things like politics and stuff like that. And I asked Robin, I said, Robin, because in my personal opinion, I think they're the enemy of Bitcoin, but I asked him, do you think Democrats will ever be Bitcoiners? So I want to ask you that, Lou. Lou, Democrats and Bitcoin, are they oil and water? Can they go together?
There are liberal Bitcoiners. I've seen a few, but they're just as bad as you might think they are. Like when I say it, how bad do you think it was? So that's how bad it is. That's
okay.
But they can. Yeah, sure. Like anybody can, bro. Like the Iranians can. Yep. Like who are we to stop them?
They're Bitcoin.
Stop them. Like the only thing the government could do is just buy all the Bitcoin and bring the USD price up and bless all of us. But that's the only way to stop Bitcoin. And I think that anybody can. China could. Anybody. Literally anybody.
The one thing I'll say really quick to that, and then I'll shut up again because I've already talked enough. Is so I'm 39 years old. And Tea Party, Occupy Wall Street, it was right in the middle of that. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners that were former Occupy Wall Streeters. A lot of them, a bunch of very prominent ones. And I was a Tea Party guy. Constitution, Bill of Rights, all this stuff, and Thomas Jefferson, whatever the hell, Frederick Douglass, right, all the founders and everything, right? But there's you realize that in Bitcoin, it really does bring almost everyone together, and you realize how similar you all are. So that is the one thing I can say when you truly understand Bitcoin, and you realize that, wow, we are all very similar. And most of the division was just caused by the media. It's kind of what Lou mentioned earlier. And I think Jerry, just everyone's kind of mentioned, like what's being injected, the narrative into your head all the time by school, by media, by sports now, all this different stuff. These are just these fake things going on that are injected into your brain. The propaganda, which Edward Bernays wrote about very effectively 100 years ago. So that's what you have to be careful about, what goes into your mind.
The problem that I see with the Democrat Party now, the Democrat Party today is a socialist party. And I always say Bitcoin and socialism doesn't go together. Bitcoin is more capitalist, and it's a different system, of course, but that's the only thing is the socialism aspect. That's why I don't see a lot of Democrats that are very far left not get into Bitcoin.
Yep, it's a great point.
No, it's literally like Bitcoin is 100% anti-socialism. Like that's literally like it's literally like it doesn't go. So like the Mamdanis of the world, the AOCs of the world, the different like the Bernie Sanders of the world. That's why, in my opinion, that's the wrong Democrat way. That's the wrong way to go if you're a Democrat, in my opinion. But there are a lot of capitalist Democrats. Like Joe Biden was a full-blown capitalist. Like Joe Biden was not a socialist. And Trump is a socialist too. Like Trump is, that's a different conversation people don't really want to talk about. Trump, he could be very socialist, and when the pandemic happened, he turned into a full-blown socialist. So bro was giving out money to everybody, bro. Like bro printed out how much money you printed out. Like, so I love Trump, man, but like I think that those labels are funny to me. But there's a lot of people that have characteristics that are very socialist like, and as a country we are very socialist when it comes to social programs and how much money goes into helping other people and how bastardized those programs get. And I think we're seeing that with the fraud task force. So anyways, in closing, yes, anybody can. I think that Bitcoin unifies those even who are not unified at the moment as a whole, because the problems remain the same, which is money and, corruption as a whole. And, I think that Bitcoin solves that. But I think to get to that finish line, you have to bring the masses with you. You have to literally reach the masses. And I think that Bitcoiners do a terrible job at reaching the masses. I don't think that Bitcoiners even know how to reach the masses at all. I think they do a terrible, terrible fucking job of going viral. They don't know how to go viral. They don't know how to relay a message. And unfortunately, you know, that's something that I observed. I was observing of it when I went to the Bitcoin conference, and I was like, "What? There's a problem here. There's a huge disconnect. A lot of these guys got great ideas. They have no idea how to get it out to people, and unfortunately, they're not adapting for the next 25, 30 years. They're doing a bad job at adapting. So I think that the right idea is that go after mainstream people and try to literally, I don't know, figure it out. You know, law of attraction your way into virality, and you'll find a way to really relay the message to the masses. Like, get videos. So last thing I'm gonna say, I know you got to go, Robin, but I think somebody that's really doing a good job at that is Joe Contorsi. I don't know how to say his name. Joe, you guys know him?
Yeah, Consorti. Yeah, Joe Consorti.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a great job. I think when you get 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 to 100K views a video, even if it's 25K, I think you are headed in the right direction. You are getting 25,000 people. That is a stadium full of people. Just keep doing that. Keep chasing that. And I think that the message will get louder. Instead of just having one guy, because I think there's only one guy right now. And I think that guy is Michael Saylor. That's extremely, like, he is extremely viral. I just think that that's kind of like, you gotta get more people in that realm that go that viral all the time, and they have a Bitcoin shirt on.
It's kind of tough though. Like I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like, to me, you know, you look at these other coins like XRP we talked about, they have a pretty good marketing budget. They have VC funding that helps these people go viral and how to create this content and stuff. And I was thinking, like, there's a lot of people, a lot of Bitcoiners out there with some very deep wallets or cold storage. And I'm thinking, like, why don't Bitcoiners just, you know, pitch in some money, put together some sort of marketing department? But at the same time, it's like, I think that the real Bitcoiners are actually happy right now about how cheap they can exchange their dollars for sats. And it's almost like, yeah, we want to get the message out there, but like not too quickly, because we don't want this thing to be $10 million tomorrow. So I think it's like a selfish part of us that's like quietly trying to keep it under wraps, but at the same time, really want to go viral at the same time. And we can't really make up our mind on what the hell it is.
I've been praying for the price to go down. I've been praying, bro. You know, you get paid. I get paid. YouTube pays like every 21st. I'm like, man, as long as the price is in a good spot on the 21st, bro, I can. Don't go to 65. Don't go to 70 yet, man. Wait.
That's what I mean.
Wait.
So it's like, yeah, we want people here, but we also don't want this thing to be to the point where we pretty much peaked at what we have for sats right now, which still wouldn't be the worst. And that's why I'm kind of torn, because I understand that in order for this thing to play out, we need more people here. The price needs to go up. All these things need to play out. But at the same time, there's the other side of my shoulder that's like, you know, leave it here for a while. We want more sats. So I don't know. It's tough. But I do agree with you. I think that Bitcoiners overall do a pretty shitty job in terms of like getting to the mainstream. We are very guilty of being in our own echo chamber, but it's just because, you know, we don't want much drama. We've kind of removed ourselves from that fiat system because we're tired of the bullshit and the drama and the this and the that. And it's like, can finally speak just truth. And truth isn't very profitable in a lot of ways. And neither is like Bitcoin only self-custody. People don't make money off of that. So it's a fine line to walk, I feel like.
Hey, self-custody is that's another conversation, but it's a very scary thing, because anytime I send a huge amount of money to my wallet, man, I'm shaking for like 30 minutes to make sure that the money gets there, or to make sure Bitcoin gets there, to correct myself. But yeah, that you know, I'm like, if I'm going through this and I really believe in Bitcoin, imagine somebody who's, if they got to go through self-custody.
That's what I meant right in the beginning of the show with the infrastructure. We do a shitty job in educating and going viral, but I think the infrastructure, the UX, the UI, all the apps, the services around Bitcoin, they are really shitty. I think we will see in 15 years such amazing apps and companies and products and services all around Bitcoin that are so good and so nice to use. and then we look back of like, oh, we did it like in the Stone Ages, like a Bitcoin transaction was like such a raw thing to do. A little bit like I'm young, so I can only say that from like people telling me how it was. But imagine dialing onto the internet in like 20 years of 25 years ago. It was like a very different feeling than it is right now, and so it is kind of like a very early stage in the infrastructure of Bitcoin, and it will develop and it will be very good in the long-term future.
That's why we all need to work together and go viral. And we're gonna again,
Or collabs.
Lou, yes. Lou, you can teach us how to do that, maybe. You've been doing a great job with that. And I believe personally, politics and Bitcoin go together because it's all political, in my personal opinion. And people gotta understand the system and learn how to. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate those memberships, man. And get together.
Wait,
and
how
just
do you see somebody sent him that?
How do I
On the
see it?
main, how is Robin seeing it? Is that what you're asking, Lou?
Yeah,
No,
I
it
think
said they sent Jerry Loves Freedom 5 gifted. How did he see
Yeah.
that? You guys
Just
have it
shows it.
integrated?
Yeah, it just shows up on
Yeah,
the
so-
what is it?
so
Stream
Yeah,
what
Yard?
is-
I was
Stream
going
Yard.
to tell you, Lou, to maybe hit the button and on your channel,
Oh,
too.
you can
see that
do-
button on the top right
oh.
over there. You could do it, but we're about to go now.
Oh yeah. Next time for sure.
Next
I'll do
time.
it.
We'll do more collabs.
And Lou, we're gonna get together, bro. Me and you.
Nah,
Sure.
for sure,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
rated this guy's live when I was live with like it was a big election. I think like 2 weeks ago. It was a big election, bro. I had like 15,000 people in there, and I just see Jerry's channel just pop up as I'm scrolling. I'm like, you know what, guys? Let's go to this guy's channel. I don't know who this guy is. Let's just go. And it happens that he was at the Bitcoin conference. He actually saw me there. And that was a great connection. That was a great moment. That was
it was the biggest moment of my channel. And you know what's crazy about that? I came home and I was working and I sat on the couch and I was like, let me see what's going on with the political stuff. And I saw his video. Lou's. I was like, you know what? Lou's making a live. You know what? I'm
I
lazy
outsmarted
ass.
everybody, bro. Nobody thought about covering that.
Yes.
And
I
then
said,
that election happened to be the biggest story in like the last 5 weeks. It was Spencer
yes.
Pratt.
And he
Spencer Pratt
inspired
stuff?
me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
He
Bro,
inspired me.
I knew it was going down, bro. I'm a front run guy. Like I like to front run stories before people get on them. Which is why I sit on my computer all day and I'm just like obsessed with what is the next thing that nobody knows is about to go viral. And that's the thing we need to go after. And I thought that the Spencer Pratt stuff, I'm like, I see the future here. I think this guy is going to lead. He's going to look good. And because I know the history of those elections, they never get called the same night. Very third world-ish. They count mail-in ballots, even postmarked mail-in ballots. They count them afterward. So I'm like, oh, this guy's going to lose. Like, it's going to look like he's going to win, but he's going to end up losing because they're going to find the exact amount of votes that the girl needs for him to finish second in the runoff because he can't advance. And then, boom, I freaking front ran it. And then I was like, I'm hoping I need Trump to say something here. And then, boom, Trump says he's being cheated. I'm like, oh, this is a story. This is it. This is virality.
Amazing.
I
We
just
need
took
more
you guys
Lou in
into my
Bitcoin.
brain,
There you go.
bro. You guys were in my brain just now. That's how my brain is. It's just
Yep.
like, yeah, I see the future. But yeah, you do that same
Amazing.
thing with Bitcoin. That's what I'm thinking about doing eventually. I feel like once I'm able to know where I'm at, I think that's next. I think I'm gonna try to do that with Bitcoin on a different channel and create something. See how viral we could go with that.
Love it.
Bye,
Love
man.
it.
Let me get out of here. I'm yapping too much.
We all got to get out.
It was nice to meet you guys. Hopefully,
great seeing you guys.
we could all kind of link up on X, and I could follow you guys, Brandon and Jor. Jerry already got you. Robin already got you. But
Absolutely.
see you guys on the next one, man.
Okay, thanks, Lou.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, Lou.
Yep. Thanks. Great stuff.
Really cool. Then I'll gotta hit the bathroom. So I'm gonna end it with
Great
one
chat, boys.
amazing comment. I just saw that. I was like, I'll just put it in there as the ending sequence for us. Bitcoin is just a pump and dump. Get over it, guys. And with that, I'll see you guys again next week.
Oh, goodness.
Have a great one.
Great
Thanks,
stuff,
guys.
everybody.
See you next time.